Hello everybody, welcome back for some more Under Night. So last time was Kuon. That's like, even though he's the final boss of the entire thing, it's fine. I'll just get him out of the way. Let's just do Gordeau. Just to kind of knock out Gordeau, I guess. I'm not a very good Gordeau player. And oddly enough, his move that I think should be a quarter circle is actually a Z motion. So this move right here is a Z motion. And he luckily has a great command normal heavy. In my opinion. His slide move is so damn cool. And you can actually, because I think it's like a soft knockdown. So you can technically use it to, well, I think, I want to say soft, but either way, it's one of those knockdowns where you can actually bring people from it, like that. Which again, I have to reiterate that this game is just fantastic with just everything that you can do in it. Yeah, as you can tell, I am not doing so good at Gordeau play. Because Gordeau is very weird. He's very strict time-based type character, I feel. I mean, to be fair, it's a fighting game. Just about damn near everybody can be considered a timing-based character. But there's something very odd about Gordeau combos that I can never, I guess, understand fully. Either because I'm just dumb as hell or something, I don't know. Regardless of what it is, I seem to kind of just struggle against him. And judging by the fact that, I'm just getting completely destroyed by a Gordeau CPU right now, I'm sure that's probably a good clear, sign right there that even then I'm still not that good at dealing with this crap. But we get around on him. I'll take that. That's better than nothing. I could try to use the Z motion spin move. God. Damn it. I keep trying the same stuff. I think that's what's going to end up fucking me over a lot of the time. It's just I keep doing the same... the same jump-in stuff. Ah, he broke me, of course. But it's not like it matters. He got grit anyway. It wasn't going to... I gotta stop hitting buttons. Even just right now, as I'm blocking, I'm just hitting buttons. I'm waiting for that gap, and it's like, dude, you're gonna get ruined if you keep doing that. I'm just, half waiting for him to launch a super at any point in time. He's mid-combo. He's gonna do it. He has no reason not to. Except that he decided not to, I guess. God damn! This might be one of the few times, one of the few characters I just probably can't do. This might be my Axel. Although it's definitely, in comparison to Axel bullshit, this is much more doable. No doubt about it. Yeah, so that's another thing too, is you can't be doing grid stuff, because if you do that, and you get hit out of it, you're gonna get broken grid, and it's gonna eat you alive. So... judging by what's going on, I can't do jump-ins, because he'll just ruin them. I think that his overhead might have a gap between it, so I could probably take an advantage of that. Maybe. Oh my god, it's that fucking starting... that move right there. I forget which one that is. I think that's not normal. No, it's not neutral heavy. I can't think of what it is. Oh, what the fuck? I thought I launched my thing, but I did not. Well, either way, I'm taking that so I can at least get some goddamn EX out of this. You can charge that? I did not know you can increase that move. A slide move, it looked like. I was gonna say, I should try to do for, the half circle, but I ended up accidentally doing a quarter circle instead, like a moron. So that's just my bad. The thing about Gordeau, though, is I remember he was extremely popular back in Blaze Blue Cross Tag. And if you're wondering, will I do that game? The answer is a solid probably not. I don't know. It's just definitely one of those games where, I'm gonna be real with you, I'm not a big fan of it. I used to think it was cool back then, but they made it so just annoying to play now, I feel. I guess I wasn't blocking. But they made it so annoying to play it. And I mean, to be fair, the game has always been kind of just annoying to play, even back then, for me. But there was at least a level of, like, even though I suck at the game, I can eventually, maybe, hopefully get, you know, used to how things, I guess you could say, work. But then all of a sudden, they added this stupid fucking bullshit thing where, like, how do I explain this? So back then, if you would do a neutral heavy, which is just an absolute, a crime against fighting games, by the way. Neutral heavy was a universal overhead, correct? Down heavy was not. Well, down heavy was a universal, like, just crouching heavy move. Whether it might be. But either way, universally speaking, in all technicality, a neutral heavy would basically just be an overhead for every character. Yes, it would sometimes have different attributes or whatever, or come out differently or do whatever, right? Of course. That's just, you know, how it kind of works. But regardless of whether or not it had that, basically back in the day, you would do an overhead, and if you happen to land that said overhead, you would go into a thing, which is like a little mini game thing where you have to time a second heavy button press, and what would happen is you can use meter to get, or not even meter. I don't think it used meter back then either. I think what it did was you just get like a free extra bit of damage from it or whatever, right? If you time it at the right second. They completely got rid of it and instead changed it to a thing where now you just use meter. Like, you burn meter to get that extra damage for free regardless. And it's just like, what's the fucking point of it? It's the same thing, like, the same reason why I did not like Grand Blue Versus back then is because of that stinking skill cooldown thingy or what, or not that. It was the easy commands. So, people could just as easily, regardless of how much damage you lose or not, can just do a super and, like, with just a button press and just get the super to come out. If the whole game was built around the idea of doing easy supers, that I wouldn't care. That wouldn't be a problem. But the fact that you have both in the game anyway, and the fact that, like, just a raw super has no damage scaling on it whatsoever, regardless of which thing you decide to use, was always, like, the thing that kind of pissed me the fuck off. And I think I had the same argument with my friend back in the day, too. And I think he was kind of, like, defending the idea of it, like, it doesn't really matter or whatever, because, you know, I don't know. I forget what exactly he said, but I remember having this debate with him, like, a long time ago. He probably won't remember either, but I remember it was, like, some type of weird debate thing where I think he was just trying to argue against me just for the sake of it. But either way, I just did not like it one bit. I thought it was stupid. Like, I understand that for, like, a casual point, it's like, okay, well, we want people to get into the game casually. I get that, but the thing is, like, the amount of damage you lose from doing a combo into super is so little that it just, in my opinion, just never mattered to have both. Because, like, the benefit I get from doing an actual, like, input super was just kind of defeated by the fact that I could just press a singular button. Now, granted, you might be thinking to yourself too, like, well, why not just just follow the trend? But that's not the type of person I want to be. I don't want to be the guy that just follows, like, modern control for, like, Street Fighter 6 because it's the easiest thing to play and it's the most beneficial thing to play, much like you know pros do or whatever. I don't know. I do have too much dignity. I have too much pride. That's kind of my problem. But I do understand why people like pros would use it. I'm not going to argue against it. I don't care if pros use it because they're pros. They know what they're doing. And casual using it too, that's fine. But it's just like, at the end of the day, you know, they're going to use what's the easiest thing for them. And honestly, I mean, it makes sense because they're trying to get that bag. So I can't really fully blame them for that. It just sucks that the devs have to introduce mechanics that are separate mechanics for two different class of people. And then that other mechanic that's built primarily to get casuals into the game end up taking away a lot of that fun because everyone's got to use it. I mean, like I said, I know it's not a big deal if pros use it, but it's just like, they're still going to use it. They're going to do it anyway, so it's going to happen. It sucks, but it's just going to happen. And it's going to make it not so much fun for me. I get why they do it, I understand, but it's just an unfortunate part of it. So, I guess you're probably wondering, like, so what are you trying to get at? Like, what should we do? Let's use Street Fighter 6 as an example. They should never have made... okay, no, let's not even use Street Fighter 6 as an example. Let's use something else. Let's use, yeah, like Tekken. Like, to be honest, Tekken 8's mechanics are really weird. But I do think that, for what it's worth, even though the game is kind of a bit, you know, jarringly broken, I've seen it. Don't worry, I've seen the Steve stuff you can do. It's ridiculous what they did to the man. Regardless of all that fun stuff, it still, I feel like, has a decent quality of, at least it can be casual friendly. It does kind of fuck us over, too, like, you know, people that want to play the game, naturally, I guess. It does kind of fuck us, too, but at the very least, it doesn't have a new mechanic that's built strictly for casuals that only, like, I mean, everybody can use it, of course. There's no two different ways to play it. Like, there's no simple command. That's what I'm trying to get at. Which is funny because, guess what? Guilty Gear Rev had simple commands, but then I never really play Rev 2 online anyway. I usually just play it locally. But either way, it's just like, it's one of those things where even like games back then had it too. But I just kind of wish that we could just make like a system for a fighting game. I guess you could argue like DNF. Even though in DNF you could just use input still. But I kind of wish there was like a thing where if you're going to make a fighting game like that, and you're just kind of tired of people using inputs all the time, or you're just kind of worried that, you know, casuals aren't going to like it, either suck it up and make them learn inputs, which they won't, I know. Because that's the problem, though. No, I get it. I get what the problem is, because like casual people are not going to want to learn the inputs. And I know that straight up. Because I have family members that I've tried to get them to play fighting games, and they just seem to just hate it because of the fact that, like, they don't understand, you know, motion controls or anything like that. To them, it's just some weird new language, which, to be fair, it is. But fighting games, you know, it takes practice and takes time, so, like, if you're going to get into fighting games, well, the best way to do it is just to do it. Just to have the interest. That's one way to do it. And I think people who have the interest in fighting game will probably end up playing the fighting game in question because they like the idea of playing the fighting game. So that's one way to do it. And no matter, the thing too, what sucks as well is like no matter if you give us like simple commands in a game or not, what's going to happen is the same thing with like Street Fighter 6 with monitor controls. Is the pro players, which, you know, monitor controls are basically made for people that don't play these games. Those same controls are going to be used by the pro players. So eventually, the casuals are going to get knocked out of the fighting game anyway. There's really just no appealing to casuals when it comes to fighting game stuff. It's an unfortunate market that, thank God, has a good amount of people on it, but still. Yeah, my tangents are kind of weird. I totally messed up so many different topics there, I'm sure. I probably come off like a gatekeeping asshole. I want people to get into fighting games. The more the merrier. I just wish that there was like a fighting game out there that could just kind of bridge the gap between both, but I think that's just impossible. You know, you either have to get used to inputs or you have to get used to a game without inputs. And without inputs, it's like, well, the pro players are going to have a much easier time, so it's not going to... It's just going to be the way it is. I guess you can argue the same thing about Fortnite. Like, if I wanted to get into Fortnite, I'd have to learn all this stuff, like how to shoot and build and all that. And people would be like, well, yeah, you know, just do that. But, like, we can't tell them to learn inputs over here because, God forbid, that's just too hard, right? I don't know. Everybody can just stay on their own lanes for the most part, but... Because sometimes, depending on the game, you really don't want people to get into your stuff. Because, honestly, sometimes gatekeeping is actually a really good idea. But anyway, that's it for this. So, as always, take care, everybody.